The first step of using your plaster on a mask form is to create a strong edge. Most of you have done this the class before, so it's nice and dry, and then you can fill in the rest of the face. Here I'm just going from step 1. I created my edge. If you're doing a whole face, you want to go all the way around under the chin and up over the head, not on the flat part of the mask form. I'm doing half a cat mask, so I went up over the nose. Now, I want to build up the area where the nose and the cheeks meet so that it looks more like a cat. The cheeks are more in line with the nose. So when you build an area up, if you need to fill a space in a little more, you can use foil, but I don't have a lot of space to actually fill in. I only need a little extra plaster here. So all I'm doing is taking plaster and smushing it, scrunching it, folding it up to raise up that space a little bit and make it not such a separation. The nose is part of the cheek area for the cat, creating a small snout. Cat eyes are almond shaped, so I'm making sure the eye area is the shape that I want. I'm cleaning out that center with my wet wipe. The next time you come in, that plaster is nice and dry. So you want to make sure you're cutting the edge, getting any of the sharp edges off. Cleaning out the eye space. You cannot tape or glue on wet plaster at all, even if it's a little bit wet. So coming in that next art class, that next session is really important because you need to have very dry plaster. I'm creating an ear out of foil. This is called an armature, or the skeleton of the shape that I need. So I'm creating 2 basic triangle shapes, kind of curved. And notice I start out nice and loose, get this to about the same size, and then I slowly start crunching and making the foil tighter and firmer. Once I get the shape I like, I'm taping it on. When you tape, you need to press really hard, press down, use a lot of pressure with your hands so that the tape is all the way on. You can also choose to hot glue it, but I think tape is quicker. I'm going to attach elastic. You measure the elastic from your temple to your temple. You're holding the elastic in front of your ear at your sideburns and taking it behind your head to your other sideburn cutting. To attach it to my mask, it needs to be in line with the eye area, about 1 inch or a 1/2 inch inside the mask. Tape it on. Now I need to cover all my tape with plaster to make it strong and to give me an area to paint on top of. So all the tape needs to be covered to make it permanently attached. I'm propping my mask up on a cup so that I can reach all the way around and on the back side, because you can see here, I'm not just putting it on the front of my mask, I'm wrapping the tape slightly over the edge to the back side. When you put wet plaster on dry plaster, it soaks up the water right away, so I need to dip my fingers in water constantly to spread out the new plaster and keep it wet and fill in the holes. I don't want to go over my elastic, so I'm going around it and just gently folding the plaster on the other side. When you are covering up your foil armatures of whatever you've added, ears, horns, you want to make sure you're starting on the mask head first, on the plaster you already put down, and starting at the base, right at the bottom, and then slowly wrapping it towards the top. So I start at the bottom of the ear and then slowly wrap it towards the tip of the ear, making sure my plaster is always touching another piece of plaster. And make sure you're covering the back side of your armature as well. I decided I wanted to add whiskers. In the past I've just hot glued whiskers on, but what I'm doing now will make it look like a seamless part of my mask. I'm attaching the whiskers with tape first. I used twisty wire, but you can use pipe cleaners or whatever you want. I taped it on first. Now I'm covering the tape with plaster. That'll make it a permanent part of my mask. I put small pieces of plaster over the tape on the front, and then as you see, I bent up my whiskers and did a little bit on the back side too, so that it's really tight onto my mask. For your final step of sculpting, you can smooth out the surface of your plaster using something called plaster craft, which is just plaster paste, to prepare your surface, make it nice and smooth for you to be able to paint on top of.